the table, and the President will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Mr. President.
Senator from New Jersey.
Mr. President, I come to the floor today in seeking unanimous consent of my legislation to reauthorize the firefighter cancer registry, a law that was passed unanimously by Congress and signed into law in 2018. The firefighter cancer registry improves our nation's ability to conduct research and gather data on the cancer risks that are associated with firefighting. And in doing so, we learn how to mitigate those risks. It's a vital program, one that furthers our understanding of how to protect the brave first responders who run towards danger when everyone else is running away from it. And yet, on October 1st of last year, the program expired. That should have never happened. In July, this chamber passed this very legislation as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, but unfortunately was stripped out of the House version. My bipartisan, common-sense legislation would reauthorize the program for an additional 5 years while bringing it in line with the current appropriation level. And since this body has already once approved reauthorizing it at this funding level, a unanimous consent vote should be a simple task that we can all agree upon. In the House Energy and Commerce Committee has already marked up language identical to this bill, including the specific $5.5 million figure, which I should add is in line with the program's current appropriation. Further, the $5.5 million appropriation was the product of a negotiation between the firefighters organizations, including the International Association of Firefighters, the CDC, and the House committee members. Although the CDC actually wanted the program funded at a higher level of $7.5 million, there was an agreement on that $5.5 million, which is the present authorization. Supported by Senators Murkowski, Brown, Klobuchar, Fisher, Rubio, Tester, and Blumenthal, this legislation would benefit both career firefighters as well as volunteers, such as my constituent, Edward Diaz. Mr. Diaz is the son of Eduardo Diaz, a North Bergen firefighter who tragically passed away in 2017 from pancreatic cancer. Today, Edward carries on his family's legacy of service as a volunteer firefighter in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. I submit to my colleagues that the Diaz family, along with their fellow brothers and sisters in the profession, are the reason we should support this bill today. Firefighters put their lives and well-being on the line every single day to keep our loved ones and our communities safe, and it's time we care for them and make their health a priority. Firefighting is more than a job, it's a calling. I believe we should honor that calling by reauthorizing the firefighter cancer registry. I don't think we need to wait for a firefighter to die to honor them. We can honor them by ultimately passing this legislation so we can continue to mitigate the risks that firefighters face by cancerous substances that ultimately can take their life. So, as if in legislative session, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions be discharged from further consideration of S-2119. The Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. Further, that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered, made, and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
Senator from Arkansas.
Reserving the right to object. I voted for this legislation in July as part of the annual defense bill, and I don't personally oppose its passage. Senator Lee and Senator Paul have reservations about the bill, though they couldn't be present at this time. As a courtesy, therefore, I object on behalf of Senator Lee and Senator Paul.
Objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from New Jersey.
I appreciate Senator Cotton is supportive, but let me just say, I wish Senator Paul and Senator Lee were here to have firefighters across this nation understand why something that is bipartisan, something that passed the Senate to the NDAA, something that is presently exactly being mirrored by Republicans in the House of Representatives, cannot ultimately pass this chamber. I guess it's bah humbug to firefighters this season, but we won't stop until we get it passed. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.